Every single one of us is the product of training, not the training you receive in a classroom or the lessons written in textbooks, but the kind of training that life imposes on you when you least expect it. Think about it. Every reaction you have, every decision you make, every instinct that kicks in when things get hard, that didn't just appear, you trained for it. If you grew up in an environment where you had to fight for attention, you trained yourself to be loud, to be noticed. If you grew up where silence kept you safe, you trained yourself to observe, to calculate, to survive. If you've ever endured loss, rejection, or failure, you were training your heart to handle pain, to endure disappointment, and to keep moving forward. And if you've experienced love, encouragement, or mentorship, you were training to believe in possibility, to see potential, to give hope to others. We don't always know it at the time, but life has been preparing us. Some people say, "I wasn't ready for this," but the truth is you were. Every difficult conversation, every sleepless night, every risk you took, even when it didn't work out, was part of your training. The fact that you're here, still standing, still fighting, is proof of it. The real question isn't whether you've been trained. The real question is, trained for what? Because training never stops. Every choice you make today, what you listen to, who you surround yourself with, what you practice when no one's watching, those are drills, they're repetitions. They're habits that are either equipping you for resilience or conditioning you for mediocrity. If you practice complaining every day, you're training yourself to see problems, not solutions. If you practice gratitude, you're training yourself to see possibility, even in the darkest times. If you train yourself to quit every time it gets hard, then difficulty will always defeat you. But if you train yourself to endure, then difficulty becomes just another workout. You didn't choose all of your training. Some of it was forced on you. Life threw weights on your shoulders you never asked to carry. But those very weights built strength you would never have known otherwise. You may not have meant to prepare for this moment, but the truth is, you did, because here you are, and you are more equipped than you realize. So the challenge is this. Don't waste your training. Don't look at your scars and think they were for nothing. Don't dismiss your struggles as meaningless. You've been trained, prepared, conditioned, whether you asked for it or not. And now you have a choice, to use it for excuses or to use it for purpose. You trained for this life, maybe not the way you imagined, maybe not the way you wanted, but every lesson, every failure, every victory prepared you for the exact place you stand in right now. And that means you're ready for whatever comes next. Every experience, whether chosen or forced, has been training you for the person you are today and preparing you for the challenges ahead. Most of us underestimate the power of repetition in our lives. We think training only happens in gyms, schools, or workplaces, but in reality, training is happening every single day, whether you are conscious of it or not. Every decision you make, every reaction you give, every habit you repeat is nothing more than a rehearsal, a conditioning of your mind, body, and spirit, and it accumulates over time until it becomes who you are. What you tolerate, what you resist, what you lean into. These are all results of years of training, even if you never called it that. If you grew up in a home where you had to defend your ideas, you trained yourself to speak with conviction. If you grew up where nobody listened, you trained yourself to hold back and observe before speaking. If you were surrounded by encouragement, you trained yourself to believe in possibilities. And if you were surrounded by criticism, you trained yourself to prepare for judgment. The point is, you didn't escape training. Nobody does. Some of it you chose. Some of it was imposed upon you. But all of it shaped you into the way you respond right now to whatever life throws at you. There are moments when people say they are not ready. They say they are not equipped for the challenge that lies ahead. But when you really think about it, that's not true. Every failure in your past, every rejection you endured, every sleepless night when your mind wouldn't stop racing, those weren't wasted nights, they were training grounds. You practiced perseverance, you practiced resilience, you practiced showing up even when the odds didn't make sense. When you were embarrassed, you trained yourself to recover. When you were praised, you trained yourself to repeat the behaviors that earned you that recognition. Life was shaping you long before you realized it. The fact that you stand here today, breathing, surviving, moving forward, is proof that the training worked. whether or not you meant it to, but training is never neutral. It either pushes you closer to the person you want to become, or further away from it. And the sobering reality is this: what you repeat, you reinforce. If you practice bitterness every day, you are strengthening your ability to see life through the lens of disappointment. If you practice gratitude, you are wiring your brain to find possibility in the middle of chaos. If you avoid hard conversations, you are training yourself to run from conflict. If you face them with humility and courage, you are training yourself to grow through discomfort. Every choice you make is a drill. Every habit you perform is a repetition, and the result of that repetition is who you are becoming. The question is not whether you are training, but what you are training for. Think of your scars. Every one of them is evidence of past training. They tell a story not just of pain, but of endurance. You didn't ask for every burden that was placed on your shoulders. Some of them were unfair, some of them were cruel. Some of them came without warning, and yet, those weights built strength you didn't know you had. The struggle that once felt unbearable became the very resistance that conditioned you. You can look back and say, "I never wanted that to happen." And that may be true, but you can also say, "It made me into who I am." That's training. You didn't sign up for it, but you endured it. You didn't choose it, but you survived it. And now, unknowingly, you are equipped to carry more than you once believed possible. It's easy to dismiss the small repetitions of life as meaningless. The way you respond to traffic, the way you speak to people who disagree with you, the way you handle small disappointments, these may seem trivial, but they are repetitions nonetheless. They are forming habits of mind and heart. If you practice impatience in the little things, you are conditioning yourself to crumble under bigger pressures. If you practice patience in the small irritations, you are conditioning yourself for calm in moments of real crisis. This is why awareness matters, because training is happening whether you are intentional or not. If you are careless with your repetitions, you may be building muscles you never intended to carry. But if you are deliberate with your choices, you can begin to sculpt the kind of resilience, compassion, and vision that prepares you for the life you want to live. Many people look at successful individuals and assume they were just gifted, lucky, or naturally talented. What they don't see are the years of invisible training. They don't see the late nights, the repeated failures, the private moments of doubt where no one was watching. Success is not an event. It is the outcome of thousands of small drills. Just like an athlete practices the same movement again and again until it becomes second nature, life demands the same of us. Every day is practice. Every day is a workout for your character. Every day is another repetition for your integrity, your discipline, your perseverance. You may not have realized you were training, but you were, and now the question becomes, what are you ready for? Consider this: every time you choose courage over fear, you are rehearsing bravery. Every time you choose generosity over selfishness, you are rehearsing kindness. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you are rehearsing strength. And just like muscles, the more you use them, the stronger they become. The same is true in reverse. Every time you choose excuses over action, you are rehearsing weakness. Every time you choose bitterness over forgiveness, you are rehearsing chains that bind you. Life will not stop training you. The question is whether you are aware enough to choose the drills that build you into the person you want to be. When you look back on your past, it's tempting to separate the good moments from the bad, the victories from the failures. But in reality, they are all part of one long training session. The victories gave you confidence. The failures gave you resilience. The encouragement taught you hope. The criticism taught you toughness. The love taught you connection. The loss taught you endurance. Together, they created the curriculum of your life. No single event defined you, but every event refined you. You may not have chosen the curriculum, but you completed the training. So here you are, standing at this point in your journey, perhaps feeling unprepared for the next challenge. But the truth is, you've already been preparing. You have already endured storms. You have already faced fears. You have already carried weights. You have already built habits. You have already been training every single day of your life. And the skills, the resilience, the strength, the character you need for what lies ahead is already within you, waiting to be called upon. You didn't just stumble here by accident. You trained for this moment, whether you realized it or not.